Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the last video, episode 1 part 2, we have seen that how you could use Flutter Doctor command and other various Flutter commands as well. So in this part, we will see how you could create a new Flutter project. And as you can see here in Visual Studio Code, there is a shortcut to show all the commands, Shift Command and P on Mac OS. You press that and you will see that Flutter new project. There is a command for creating a new project Flutter. So if you cannot see this command Flutter new project, you just have to write Flutter here and you will see all of the commands related to the Flutter. So we have to choose this Flutter new project. So after this you have to write the Flutter project name. I will write tutorial series. So there is a convention that how you would write Flutter project name. You should write in lowercase letters followed by underscore instead of spaces. So you just have to write this and hit enter. It will ask you where you want to save that project. So I have already created a Flutter workspace empty folder. Inside that I am creating this folder, so you can create wherever you want in your local machine. So it will take a few seconds here to set up the basic boilerplate code and basic directories for Flutter project. And in the meanwhile we will go here and we will see the agenda of today's part. So we will discuss about the folder structure and pubspec.yaml file for Flutter project. So don't worry about the naming conventions. We will see in a bit that what are they. So the next step would be the starting point of the app, which is the main method. And after that we will discuss few of the widgets and libraries, default libraries for Flutter. And these are the things which you are seeing right now on your screen: material app, scaffolding, and few widgets like text, center, and container, etc. And in the last, if we will have time, we will also start looking at the high level widget like list view. Otherwise we will continue this into episode 2, which will probably I will publish later on. So in today's agenda, it's quite a lot of points we will need to discuss. And as here you can see, I have successfully created a Flutter project, and without any changes I will run this project so that you can see the basic boilerplate code they have written for us. So after that we will discuss about the folder structure in a quick way, and we will start developing Flutter apps. So in VS Code, in the left tab navigation, you can see debug and run tab. You click on it and you will see two buttons, and debug with Dart and Flutter and run with Dart and Flutter. So guys, if you are using some older version of VS Code, you would see a drop down here which says no configurations, and along with that drop down you would see a play button. You can click on play button and it will ask you to run configuration with Flutter, and you will select that and it will run automatically. So I am using the newer version of VS Code. That's why I'm seeing these two buttons. So I will click on run with Dart and Flutter. So after clicking on that, you would see the list of devices you have already have in your system. I'm using a Mac OS, so I am also seeing this iOS simulator as well. In case of Windows, you would not see any iOS kind of thing here. So for iOS, you should need a Mac OS. Apart from this, you can see an Android emulator I have here. So I have also created the Android emulator inside the Android Studio using the AVD manager. So discussion of all those points like creating, installing Android Studio, creating an emulator is the out of the scope for this tutorial series. So I am supposing that you already know about the native development for mobile applications. One of them, like either in Android Studio or in Xcode for iOS, or using some cross-platform, third-party cross-platform. So we will select the start iOS simulator button, and you would see it will start the iOS simulator. Along with that, you can see the debug console, in which it will log all the all the log related stuff here. and it will run our application, and it says launching lib/main.dart on iPhone 11 Pro Max in debug mode. So in a few seconds you will see an app running here in iOS simulator. So guys, one more thing, you should know about the native side of Android and iOS a little bit in order to understand how Flutter is working behind the scene in order to run those applications on native side. So um, in the start, if you run it for the first time, it will take some time to run that application. After that, I will show you how its hot reload and hot restart function work, and very efficiently and very powerfully. So don't worry about that. You will see the output in a bit. The output, the boilerplate code they have written in main.dart here. You can see that code. I didn't write anything here. This is just a boilerplate code. And what it boilerplate code does, you can see our application is up and running. So this is our boilerplate code running here in iOS simulator. If you click on this floating action button, you can see the counter is incrementing and nothing more in this boilerplate code. So we will see step by step that what this code does, and what are the widgets which are using inside Flutter, and what is stateless and stateful widgets. We will see step by step here. So what I will do, I will delete all of their code like that. This is our home page which they have already written here, so I will create that my home page. So let me first remove all of these comments as well, so code will look a little bit nicer. So before writing any code, let me tell you, this is the folder structure and basic boilerplate code files here. The main focusable folder would be the lib folder. Inside that lib folder you would see main.dart. So main.dart is basically the starting point, as I have described here, the starting point of the app main method. So main method, you can see the void main method. This is the starting point of the method. And guys, don't worry about this Dart language. If you find yourself difficulty in writing code in Dart programming language, so there is a website which is also a code editor which is developed by Google, online editor. You could write dartpad.dartlang.org. So if you go into that, you would see there is a code editor on the left hand side, and if you run that code, it will display your output in console on the right hand side. So if I change anything here, let's say in I+1, I would say I+4 and run that code, so everything would be +4 here, 4 5 6 7 8 like that. So you can see that you have a starting point main void main function here, and instead of for loop, if we will just write print and let's say hello world and run that code, you would see in console. Okay, so we would forgot that semicolon. We run that again, you would see an hello world is printed here in console. You could also write some of your classes here, like class abc, and run some code here, write some functions and access those class objects and functions here, and you could see their output in console. So it's very easy. Another thing, very cool thing is in this Dart pad is that there are few samples here. Like if I click on the Fibonacci series, so they have created a Fibonacci series here. You just have to run that example and you could see the result here. So there are other samples as well, like sunflower. So Dart is basically a programming language which could also connect with your uh, HTML as well, and you can see all of the code connected with HTML, same like you connect your JavaScript with HTML. So if you run that sample output sunflower in Flutter, so don't worry about the code written here or code written in HTML. You just see the output here as a uh, as a sample. So we don't need to worry about this. You just you can come here in Dartpad and you can practice your on the Dart programming language if you find yourself any difficulties. So coming back to our project, we have this stateless widget. So what is stateless widget? Stateless widget is basically um, uh, a parent class in which you just have to define your build method, and you just have to define your static UI and their contents. So it sounds like very weird and very difficult, right? So we will learn this from time to time, and I will make a complete episode on that. What is stateless widget and stateless widget versus stateful widget as well. So don't worry about that. Right now we just have to know that this is our class and that class name is my app, and in the main method you just have to write this run app method. What run app method does, it will take a widget. If you hover on it, it will take a widget as an app, and that widget is rendered on your mobile screen. So right now we have a material app returning that build method, and we have a title Flutter demo. Let's say we will change that later on, and we have a theme and we have a home, and we have other options as well. So right now we need to create this home page. First we will write class my home page, and we will make it like a stateless widget. So just extends it with stateless widget, and I will tell you the shortcut commands as well from time to time. You know, if you want to write a stateless widget and write this build method by yourself instead of this, you just use this shortcut command like stl. If you write it stateless, so this is stles, Flutter stateless widget. So here is the command. You use this shortcut stles and Flutter stateless widget, so it will automatically create this build folder and the whole stateless widget class. So you just have to write your class name like my home page, like that, and it is returning a container. So rather than returning a container, we will let me close that one. So we will use this scaffolding thing. Let return the scaffold, and in that scaffold you would have a body, and in that body you could write like that container. So nothing fancy, nothing there is no content on the screen right now. And if you see the guys, the output currently showing on our mobile is the previous one which we have um, run while we run our application, and we have seen this output before. So after changing all these code, you just have to save your file, and it will instantly change all of these code here. So uh, let me just give it a little bit space so that you can see my screen as well. So as soon as I will press save, it will automatically pick up my changes and shown here. Right now we are seeing some error. So my home page, it says it is not defined. So what is the problem, guys? My home page is here, which is stateless widget. Okay, so let me give it a hot restart here for the first time, and you would see an empty container here. So what this code does is taking the empty container inside the scaffold. We will see in detail that what scaffold is and what empty container does. So if I change that code, instead of empty container I will use a center widget, which is the one of the widgets I have mentioned here as well. So what center widget does, it take a child, and in that child it will take a text, and you will write something like hello world, like that. And as soon as you will hit save, you would see your output instantly here. So this is quite easy, and you just have to change your code and click and you hit command S and you will see your output right here. So this is very easy, and we will in future we will also learn that what are these widgets like scaffold, center, and text. And I think their name says it all as well, that they are very easy to understand and use. And if you go here guys, in the documentation section of the Flutter, you would see there are many widgets here that Flutter has mentioned, and there are few introduction videos as well. You can watch that, and you can use all those widgets as well. So there is a widget catalog here. You If you go inside that, you would see some basic and async and Cupertino IO style widgets. So there are tons of widgets here you could use inside your application in order to build your application. So inside that scaffold, let me end up this video with a nice looking app bar. So if you want to show app bar, there is a property, direct property of scaffold app bar. You just have to use app bar. So guys, we don't have to import anything. All these widgets are comes inside our material dot dart. So you have to import it first. It is by default imported for me, so I didn't have to write that command again. So uh, this app bar, center, text, scaffold, these all widgets comes inside material dot dart. So you don't have to install any third-party library, you don't have to import anything, you just have to write what comes inside material dot dart. So we will create an app bar very quickly and give it a title like title should be another widget, which would be text, and we would say hello Flutter. So as soon as you would hit save, you would see there is an app bar here on top which says hello Flutter. And if you change that code, let's say hello, and save, and it will say hello. So the basic primary swatch color is blue, and you can see there is a material app which is basically the configuration for your whole application. So right now it is using colors.blue. If I change it to, let's say, orange, hit save, and you see instant change here. So this is very quick, that this hot reload, how this hot reload works inside Flutter, that your changes would be displaying here instantly. So that's it guys for this part. Um, we will start some extra coding and some high level coding, or we will see some high level widgets in the next episode. So stay tuned guys. Bye bye, take care.